I would like to announce that I am just appointing Maulana Afthab Cassim as a wakil. In my absence, he can make you breathe.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina maulana Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ashabihi wa barik sallim sallu alayhi salatu wa salaman alayka ya sayyidi ya sanadi ya habibi ya tabibi ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alika wa ashabika ya rahmatan lil alamin. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli wa nusallimu ala rasulihil kareem. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الأمين المكين الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. غوث أعظم بمن بسر وسامة مدد قبلة دي مدد كعبة إيما مدد قادری من آرائے یا غوث آدم میزنم دمز شیخ احمد رضا خان قطب عالم میزنم سیدی یا مرشدی شاہ مصطفیٰ خان زندہ باد. مسلک سرکار اعلیٰ حضرت زندہ باد. یا الہی مسلک احمد رضا خان زندہ باد. حفظ ناموس رسالت کا جو ذمہ دار ہے سیدی یا مرشدی شاہ مصطفیٰ خان زندہ باد. حامل فیض رضائے مصطفیٰ امداد کن. صلی اللہ علیہ نبی الامی و آلہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم. صلاۃ و سلام علیک یا سیدی یا سندی یا حبیبی یا طبیبی یا رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم وعلی آلک و اصحابک یا رحمتا للعالمین. All praise due to Almighty Allah. Durood and salams upon the most perfect, exalted and glorified of Allah's creation, Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Peace, blessings and salutations upon the Anbiya Ikram, Ahl Bayt Athhar, Sahaba Ikram, Khulafa Rashidin, Tabain, Tabe Tabain, Aimai Mujtahidin, Awliya Kamilin, and all those who will follow their path until the last day. We thank Almighty Allah through His infinite mercy and through the wasila of Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wa sallam for blessing us with the opportunity to congregate during these Mubarak nights of Gyarvi Sharif and to remember him and his beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and to pay tribute to the pious servants of Allah, especially the pious amongst the pious, Hazrat Sayyidina Shaykh Mahiuddin Al-Qaadiri Al-Jilani Al-Baghdadi radiyallahu ta'ala an. Over the last few nights, tonight is night number 9. So since the past 8 nights, I have been trying with the Pusht Panahi of the Mashayikh Ikram to discuss the Ruhani Maqam of Sarkar Gawth Pak radiyallahu an and his closeness in the court of Almighty Allah and how the awliya Allah are blessed with the different blessings and the different manifestations of wilayat through the blessed hands of Sarkar Gawth Pak radiyallahu anhu. I'm going to discuss a little bit more about that today, not too long, and then inshallah Al-Azim tomorrow and the night after we'll discuss further. Before doing so, let us all direct our hearts and our thoughts towards the holy court of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in doing so let us all recite collectively Durood Sharif. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina maulana Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina maulana Muhammadin wa ashabihi wa barik wa sallim sallu alayhi. Before continuing today, let me remind myself and remind you that the awliya Allah are those special and blessed servants of Allah whom Allah has granted a closeness that ordinary people cannot reach. Allah has given them a special position and a special station in Maqam Qurb, where their closeness and their nearness in the court of Allah, in the mercy of Allah is such that they are able to see, hear and do that which ordinary people cannot do. However, whatever they are able to do, where they reach their peaks, where they reach their peak, their climax, there is the first qadam of Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiyallahu anhu. That is the maqam that Allah has given him as the Imamul Awliya. And this is all because of the barakat and the special blessings of Rasul Akram, Nur Mujassam, Surur Kalbosina, Tajdar Madina, Fakhr Mawjudat, Hazrat Ahmad Mujtaba, Muhammad Anil Mustafa, Sallallahu Ta'ala Alayhi Wasallam. Now, going back to where we left off yesterday, Ala Hazrat Adimul Barkat, Imam Ahl Sunnat, Ashah Imam Ahmad Raza Khan Fazle Barelvi Radiallahu Anh says, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ كَحِسَايَا تُجھ پر. اے عبدالقادر جیلانی رضی اللہ عنہ, اے امام الاولیاء, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ كَحِسَايَا تُجھ پر, بول بالا ہے تیرا, ذکر ہے اونچا تیرا. Ala Hazrat Adhim al-Barkat radiallahu anh is telling us that in the shade of وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ, in the shade of when we have exalted for you, your remembrance is glowing, eminent. You always are at a height, your tribute is glowing. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ كَحِسَايَا تُجْ پر. What is the explanation of that? I told you yesterday. That وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ is mentioned in the Holy Quran for the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, where Almighty Allah is saying to beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and we have exalted for you your remembrance. And the remembrance of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is continuously progressing. Okay, it is continuously progressing, and it is progressing to a level that none can understand. Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's journey in the love of his Rabb is to this extent that the Ruh Mubarak of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is continuously hazir in the bargah of Allah Almighty. It is continuously hadir in the bargah of Allah Almighty, the ruh of the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Ta'ala Alaihi Wasallam. So it is a level that the human mind will not be able to understand. And that is why the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to the best, that except my Rabb, none can understand my reality. Except my Rabb, none can understand my reality. So Ala Hazrat Adimul Barkat is explaining to us, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ كَحِسَايَا تُجْ پر. That, oh Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anh, when you are excelling, when you are progressing through the manzils of qurb, and you are becoming closer in the court of Almighty Allah, then that maqam and that manner in which you are progressing is under that veil and that shade of وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. Now if we only understand this, we will realize that the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's progress, you and I can't understand. His ruh is present all the time in the darbar, in the holy court of Almighty Allah. Okay? In the divine court of Almighty Allah. His ruh is present there in the bargah of Almighty Allah. And Ala Hadrat is telling us that وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ كَحِسَايَا تُجْ پر. Oh Gawth Pak, this shade of وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ is over you. In other words, when you are excelling in that saya karam of the beloved Rasul Sallallahu Ta'ala Alaihi Wasallam. Alright? And bol bala hai tera, zikr hai uncha tera. That is why your maqam and your dhikr and your status is such that not only are you being praised on the earth, but even in the skies you are being praised. Oh Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani. Now, that is why Sarkar Gawth Pak radiallahu anh said to the awliya Allah, and he said to the Afthab, which we spoke about yesterday briefly, أَنَا الْبَازِيُّ أَشْحَبُ كُلِّ شَيْخٍ أَنَا الْبَازِيُّ أَشْحَبُ كُلِّ شَيْخٍ وَمَنْ ذَا فِي رِجَالِي أُعْطِيَ مِثَالِي. What Gawth Pak is saying? Gawth Pak radiallahu anh is saying to them, to the awliya, that above all the sheikhs, I am the greyish white falcon flying high. And who is it amongst the rijal? Here the rijal doesn't just mean men. Here it is talking about the rijal ghaib. It is talking about the men of piety in the court of Allah whom you and I can't see even. See, I'll give you one example. It is mentioned when Hazrat Sayyidina Sabir Alauddin Ali Ahmad Kalyari radiallahu anh left this dunya. The only person that was present or reached there at that time when he heard about this was Shamsuddin Panipati radiallahu anh. And when the time for the janazah came, it was just him, Halimullah Abdal, and the janazah of Hazrat Sabir Pak. And we know the waqiyah there. I'm not going deep in that. But when the time came for the janazah, that was at, and he started to think in his heart, according to some narrations, that such a big wali Hazrat Sabir Pak, and we can hardly, only 2-3 of us are here. Huh? And when the janazah was performed, and when he turned salam, then as far as he could see to the right, there were people. And as far as he could see to the left, there were people. And in every direction, there were people. Where did they come from? Rijal al-Ghaib. These are the people that Sarkar-e-Ghaus Pak is talking. Yeah, Rijal doesn't just mean men. It means the best of men amongst men, amongst the awliya. So he is speaking to them, and he is telling them, above all the sheikhs, I am the greyish white falcon flying high. I am the peregrine falcon flying high. Who is there amongst the men of piety, who is there amongst the Rijal, who has received like me, who has got the status like me? Yani, this is a very powerful declaration. I told you yesterday in brief, just briefly, that when it comes to understanding, just for understanding, I was just reading about it, that the white falcon or the greyish white falcon or the peregrine falcon, Baz Ashhab refers to these things. Its speed when it's hunting, they say during its hunting stoop, is roughly between 320 and 390 kilometers per hour. Okay? And that is why it is regarded as the fastest animal on the planet. Because of its speed like that, the fastest creature because of its speed. Now look at, this is what we call, man had to measure and do all these things with all the latest of equipment to find out that this falcon can fly this high. And this is its speed. It took the latest technology to find this. In that zamana Gawth Pak is saying, Al-Baziul Ashhab. Gawth Pak in that zamana, without any of this technology, he's talking about himself, and he's saying, amongst the awliya, I am like the greyish white, the peregrine falcon. I am like that falcon amongst the other birds. How Gawth Pak was measuring that falcon speed? What made him say that? What made him say that I am the Baz al-Hashab? It made him say that because of the ilham and the maqam vilayat that he was on. Allah had given him the knowledge and the understanding of those things. But he said it for us to understand. Now, when we look at this falcon, let me tell you about a little bit more. So, it is stated that, let me go in this way first. By doing the Sarkar-e-Ghaus Pak radiallahu anh, he's telling everybody that I fly so high above all of you. He's telling all the Afthab that I fly so high above all of you, like the falcon soars above all the other birds. That's how high I can fly. And after that, he again says to the Arifs, he's telling these Arifs, these Abdals, these great awliya, he's telling them, show me from amongst you anyone who can receive that which I got. In other words, he's giving them the seal, telling them that Abdul Qadir is Abdul Qadir. He is the Baz Ashhab. He is that falcon, he's got that excellence amongst you for understanding, like the falcon, the greyish white falcon or the white falcon has amongst all of them. And you think for a moment, he used the word Baz at that time. He used the word Baz, the falcon at that time. And the Sufyan Ikram have said, the reason for this is because of the height, which we told you how fast the falcon usually flies. It's because of the height at which the falcon flies higher than all the other birds, and it is able to reach that height because of its speed faster than anyone else. Faster than any other bird, it can reach that maqam because of the speed that it can build at that time. So what is he trying to say? He's telling you, I am like how that Baz is amongst the rest of the birds, how that falcon is amongst the rest of the birds. Abdul Qadir is like that amongst the awliya. The awliya are also blessed. They in that same manzil of wilayat. But they are not in that manzil where Abdul Qadir has gone, because while they're still trying to get there, Abdul Qadir already got there. Abdul Qadir has already got there and he's not stopped. He's continuing, like we said yesterday and day before, he's excelling. So he's saying, amongst all the awliya, I am the white falcon, and none of you are able to pass through each level of qurb in the court of Allah. with the kind of speed that I pass through with. And this is because I have the special direction. I have the special direction and the special guidance from the court of Almighty Allah. And I have this direction and this guidance because of the Sahara of Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. So, coming back to the Baz Ashab, the white falcon, or the grayish white falcon. See, it can see, keep this in your mind, what we know about it, it can see from such a height which other birds can't see. So, it is said when the Baz Ashab, when the greyish white falcon makes that climb at 320 or 390 k's an hour, when it reaches there, from there it's able to spot its prey. I'm trying to tell you why he used that word. From there it can spot its prey. And before the prey knows it, it's come from there to you and it's grabbed it. Okay? The vision. When he spoke about being the Baz Ashab, he's trying to tell you that I am at that height, that I can see that what none of the Afthab can see. They can see this, they can see that, but what Al-Qaadiri can see, they can't see. That's why Gawth Pak said, if somebody who truly loves me is in the west and I am in the east, and if his kamarband becomes loose, in other words, somebody tries to play with his honor, Al-Qaadiri will be there in a split second to make his madad. Why? Because he is there where he can see and he can come down so fast. That is the maqam. That's why he said the Baz Ashab. Now, for that, he's talking about second thing. One is where he can see from. The second thing is his speed with which he reaches wherever he reaches in Ruhaniyat. In other words, the highest of maqams, and from there he can be here in any time. And the next thing, the third thing, is the beauty. If you look at the falcon, this white falcon or the greyish white falcon or the peregrine falcon, you'll see the beauty of its wings, the span. The beauty of its wings that others don't have. The taqat in the wings. So Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu is telling, see that Baz, the power that it has in wings, amongst all other birds, like that Abdul Qadir has the most power in his bazu compared to all the other awliya Allah. When he comes to your mother, that he stretches his hand, he can bring down the ship that was sunk, he can take it out from there in no time from the pani. Why? Because of the taqat that Allah has given Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu ta'ala an. Now, to better understand this, one waqia that we've heard many times, right? Sarkar-e Gawth-e-Azam Jilani radiallahu anhu's bargah, Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu is delivering a lecture. While Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu is delivering the lecture, in front of him, in the front of Sarkar-e Gawth Pak, the Jamaat that used to sit used to be the Jamaat of Awliya. Okay? Amongst them, Hazrat Sayyiduna Ali bin Hajar Hayti radiallahu anhu. Some say Hayti, okay? Uzur Muhaddisi Kabir says Hayati radiallahu anhu. Sarkar-e Gawth Pak is delivering his lecture. And I told you what used to be happen when the lecture of Gawth Pak, that electrifying ruhani condition, not like you and I'm lecturing now, half the fellows are listening, somebody may be tired, some different, okay? But Gawth Pak's mehfil was spiritually electrifying. Whoever was sitting in that mehfil was in another level at that time. You must understand that they're listening to the words from the zuban of that personality whose zuban, whose blessed tongue has been infused by the lu'ab dahan of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they are looking at that face of that personality who is Hassani, Hussaini in that level, on whom is the special tajalli of Allah and His beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They're looking at him and they're speaking and they're listening to his words. Do you know what was the maqam of that mehfil alone? Right? And while they're listening, so what do you expect? Everybody's attention is on Sarkar-e Gawth Pak. Kisi ki nazar idhar udhar nahi jayegi. Because everybody is in a different condition. They're in a state of spiritual ecstasy. Now at a time like that, imagine if somebody falls asleep. I am lecturing, somebody falls asleep, baat alag hai. Somebody else is lecturing, you fell asleep, you're tired, alag baat hai. But imagine Sarkar-e Gawth Pak is giving a lecture and the person sitting right in front of him falls asleep. What would happen? What are you going to say? That person wasn't paying attention? Or whatever. Mehfil of Gawth Pak. Gawth Pak is delivering a lecture. And everybody is looking from this side to that side because they can see that person was such a big maqam. Ali bin Hajar Haiti radiallahu anhu is sleeping. Mahfil of Gawth Pak. His eyes are closed. Sarkar-e Gawth Pak is delivering the lecture and then Sarkar-e Gawth Pak's nazar falls upon him. We heard this many times. Sarkar-e Gawth Pak, when he is lecturing, when he used to deliver the speech, he used to be in a state of true hal. In a true deep spiritual state. In other words, his vision may be looking at the people, but his sight is on Lawh Mahfuz. His heart and his soul is in the court of the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he is understanding the ma'rifat of Allah at that time deeper. So he's not just here. And in that time, while delivering that in that deep spiritual state, his nazar falls upon Ali bin Hajar Haiti radiallahu anhu, and he sees that he's sleeping. Hazrat Al-Azam Jilani radiallahu ta'ala doesn't say, "Oh Ali Haiti, what are you doing? My mahfil and you sleeping." Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu comes down from the mimbar. Comes down from the mimbar, and he goes and stands in front of him with his hands tied. All those in the majlis, when Gawth Pak stands, everybody stands. All in a different state. What has happened? Others are thinking other things, others are thinking other things. Gawth Pak is not waking him up, he's just standing like that. After some time, Hazrat Sayyidina Ali bin Hajar Haiti radiallahu opens his eyes, and he sees Sarkar-e Gawth Pak is standing in front of him. Immediately he gets up. He gets up and he stands in front of Sarkar-e Gawth Pak and he says, "Ya Gawth Adam radiallahu an, I wasn't really sleeping. But when you were delivering this lecture, the rohaniyat and the spiritual maqam of your words were so deep piercing that it took me to a level where my eyes closed and I was making ziyarat of Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I was seeing Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam." But before he could say, some narrations say Gawth Pak told him that. Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu told him. One is saying that he said what happened. And the other says that Gawth Pak then looked at the people and he said, "Why are you also shocked that Al-Qaadiri is standing in front of a sleeping man?" He said, "Ali bin Hajar Haiti is not sleeping. He was sleeping, but his nasib was awake. He was making ziyarat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his dream." And Sarkar-e Gawth Pak looks at Ali bin Hajar Haiti radiallahu anhu, and he looks at the people and he says, "Alhamdulillah, Al-Qaadiri was making ziyarat with the eyes of his head." Al-Qaadiri was looking at Rasul Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the eyes of his head. So what is Gawth Pak telling you here? Anal Badiul Ashab. Anal Badiul Ashab. I am that eagle, that falcon. I am at that height of ruhaniyat and wilayat, that what another wali can see in his dream, Al-Qaadiri can see with his eyes. Because of that maqam where he is. He is seeing in the dream, and here he is seeing it physically. He is seeing Rasulullah Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam with his eyes, meaning the pardas between him and the court of Rasulullah Pak have been opened. Because of that vision and that nazar of Sarkar-e Gawth Azam radiallahu ta'ala an. That is why he gave himself an example of the great falcon amongst the other birds, to show the maqam of the vision and the power of Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anh. And again, why did Gawth Pak say this? Gawth Pak didn't have to tell us, "Ana Badiul Ashhab." Okay, the Gawth Pak radiallahu anh didn't have to say this, that I am that falcon, I am that greyish white falcon, I am that white falcon, I am that Badiu, Ana al-Baziu Ashhabu kulli shaykhin wa man dha fi rijali u'ti misali. He didn't have to say this. But he was saying this because, as I told you yesterday, that this was the tajalliyat from the court of Allah. This was ilham that Al-Qaadiri say this. Al-Qaadiri say this. Al-Qaadiri say this. Like I told you yesterday, that when Sarkar-e Gawth Pak, those people who say that Gawth Pak was praising himself, no, Gawth Pak wasn't praising himself. Gawth Pak was saying that which is commanded to him from the court of Almighty Allah. Like when Gawth Pak radiallahu anh said, "Qadami hadihi ala raqabati kulli waliyillah." This foot of mine is on the shoulders of all the awliya Allah. Then this statement of Gawth Pak even, that this foot of mine is on the shoulders of all the awliya Allah, this statement alone is ilham from the court of Almighty Allah to Hazrat Gawth Pak. That, "Oh Al-Qaadiri, you say Abdul Qadir, you say that your foot is on the shoulders of all the awliya Allah. Then Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anh said this, and the awliya Allah took the qadam of Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anh. Inshallah. Either tomorrow night on Monday. Monday is going to be we'll go to Lajra Masjid for the Jari Sharif Mahfil, the short Mahfil. And then we'll come back, and at the same time, how we start every night, we'll still have a Mahfil, so that we get the sawab of having the whole 11 nights at Imam Mustafa Raza Research Center. So please, after that, come back here and let's do it. But there, if Allah wills, tomorrow on that night, I'm going to try to discuss Qadami hadihi ala raqabati kulli waliyillah. I want to discuss the different spiritual angles of that statement of Hazrat Sayyidina Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiyallahu ta'ala an. So this point should be understood, that when I'm only telling you this for now, and we'll talk more about it later, that when Gawth Pak radiyallahu an said this, whenever he said the words of Qasida Gawsiya, or he said Qadami hadiha ala raqabati kulli waliyillah, this foot of mine is on the shoulders, on the necks of all the awliya, this is because it was inspired upon him from the court of Almighty Allah. It was inspired upon him. So by saying these and other statements, the Jamaat of the awliya are being reminded, and I told you this before, they are being reminded that above them is Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anh, who sees better than everybody else. He is able to hear better than all of them. He is able to make madad faster than everybody else. But they give madad to you because of the madad of Sarkar-e Gawth Pak radiallahu anh. This is the whole idea of understanding what Gawth Pak is telling us. So that is why even Sarkar-e Khaja Gharibun Nawaz radiallahu anh reached this maqam of being Sultanul Hind. He got it through the barakat of Sarkar-e Gawth Pak, because he took the qadam of Sarkar-e Al-Azam Jilani radiallahu anh. And this is why Sarkar-e Ala Hadrat Adimul Barakat, about this Qadami hadihi ala raqabati kulli walillah, and I'm going in that direction a little bit, because I'm going to continue with this in the next day or two. That Ala Hadrat Adimul Barakat, why he says, Wah kya martaba e Gawth hai bala tera. Wah kya martaba e Gawth hai bala tera. Unche uncho ke saro se qadam ala tera. He's saying to about Sarkar-e Gawth Azam Jilani radiallahu ta'ala an, oh Gawth Azam Jilani radiallahu ta'ala an, Allah has blessed you with such power, Allah has given you such izzat and honor, ke unche uncho ke saro se qadam ala tera. Two meanings you can take this. One, that those greats amongst the awliya, above them is your qadam, because they took your qadam. And another is that you are Badh al-Ashab, you are the Badh Ashab, you are that falcon, like the falcon amongst all of them. So those who fly so high, you are that person whose qadam is above all of them also. Okay? And we'll discuss this further, and I will take this back, inshallah al-Azim, to a different discussion, so we understand it better, inshallah, when we speak tomorrow, day after tomorrow. But Gawth Pak radiallahu anh, that's why he gives this after he's saying Ana Badiul Ashab, and then in the end he speaks about everything, and then he comes and says Waman dafi rajali uti misali. He gives the challenge. First he says who he is, and then he says to them, nobody is going to challenge him amongst the awliya. But he is doing this to show the maqam that Allah has bestowed upon him. He's showing his ni'mat, the tahdith and ni'mat, shukr in the court of Allah, that Allah has made Abdul Qadir like this. So regarding this, you know, what the great Sufyan Ikram have taught is that you should understand when it comes to Gawth Pak radiallahu an, that Gawth Pak radiallahu an is Baz Ashab. His Baz Ashab, he's that great falcon. And when him telling you this, he's also telling not the awliya, he's passing the message to everybody else, that Abdul Qadir jaisa charna bhi janta hai, waise utarna bhi janta hai. Like Abdul Qadir knows how to go up, Abdul Qadir also knows how to come down. और जैसे अब्दुल कादिर बचाना जानता है, वैसे अब्दुल कादिर मारना भी जानता है. See that falcon? It soars so high, but when it wants to come down for an attack, you can't get away from it. So Sarkar-e Gawth Pak is telling you that remember this, that as much as I can, go that high, but if I need to come down and get you, I will come down and get you. I will come down and rip you apart if you have to save somebody who says, Ya Ghaus al-Madad. That's what he's trying to tell you, right? So this is that message is also passed, resonated through the awliya, but it's coming down to the people afterwards. So you understand that this is the maqam of Sarkar-e Gawth Azam Jilani radiallahu ta'ala. And that is why Ala Hadrat Adimul Barakat, I'm ending with this, Ala Hadrat Adimul Barakat radiallahu anh says, that kalam which has these ashar, warafana laka dikrat kahe saya tuj par, bol bala hai tera zikr hai, uncha tera. Ala Hadrat Adimul Barakat says, Al-Aman kah rahe, ay Ghaus, wo tikha tera. Al-Aman kahr hai, ay Gawth wo tikha tera, mar ke bhi chain se sota nahi mara tera. I'll discuss this more tomorrow, the share of Allah Hazrat, that may Allah protect us. Allah is saying, oh Gawth, your fury is so frightening. Your Jalal. I want to talk about this tomorrow, inshallah. Al-Aman kahr hai, Gawth wo tikha tera, mar ke bhi chain se sota nahi mara tera. Oh Gawth, may Allah protect us. Abdul Qadir, oh Allah, may Allah protect us. Oh Gawth, from your fury which is so frightening. Even in his grave, the one struck by you remains forever suffering. Yani jisko aapne mara dunya mein, wo marne ki baad bhi chain nahi pa sakta. That is the hit of Sarkar, the strike of Sarkar Gawth Pak, radiyallahu anhu. And I want to discuss this, inshallah, a little bit tomorrow, so that we understand that you cannot play when it comes to the awliya Allah. You cannot just think that I'm going to get away. You think in front of, sometimes people go sit in front of Budurgandin with different intentions, and they try and plot and they ploy, and they think that the Budurgandin don't know about that, then that means, and they say, hey, great wali, you didn't accept the wali. If you accepted the wali, you won't go to ulterior motives in front of a wali of Allah, because the scholars have said when you sit in the court of an alim, watch your tongue. When you sit in the court of an alim, watch your tongue. And when you sit in the court of a wali, watch your heart. Because they are able to read your heart. So Gawth Pak radiallahu anhu, and this is the shan of the awliya. What is the shan of Gawth Pak radiallahu ta'ala anhu? So inshallah al-Azim, Allah willing, tomorrow we'll discuss that. Again, to end today, that Iman and Aqidah, how important it is to protect it. Keep your Iman protected, keep your Aqidah protected, keep away from all those who try to divert you from the beloveds of Allah. Because once this diversion starts, to go back is very difficult. Once a person starts diverting, it means shaitan has now hacked his path. You know, you talk about people in the modern zamana hacking your phone, and hacking your computer, and hacking this and hacking that. When shaitan hacks your heart, you are in trouble. When shaitan hacks the heart, you are in big trouble. But the reason that you say my phone didn't get hacked, you didn't say my computer didn't get hacked, my tab and laptop didn't get hacked, because I got one of the best antivirus on it. I kept it protected, but even with the Dunyawi antivirus, still people are getting hacked. Still they get into your bank account. Still they finish all your money. Shaitan get into your heart, he'll not worry about your money, he's going to finish your iman. Everything is going to finish. So you need to keep strong antivirus. And the antivirus is the maslak of Allah Hadrat. The antivirus is Imam Ahl Sunnah. The antivirus are the awliya. The antivirus and the protection, that firewall, is Sarkar, spiritual firewall, is Sarkar Gawth Pak's for use and barakat. If you keep your heart there firm, you don't say that this and that. You say, Ya Gawth Pak, my heart belongs to you. You protect it, I don't know how to protect it. You don't start saying, I'm going to see now how I can protect. You try your best in insani way. But you say, Ya Gawth Pak, this heart belongs to you. You protect it, I don't know how to do it. Gawth Pak will protect it. So, very important. Otherwise, once, as I said, once shaitan hacks, like how they hack into computer, sab barbad kar deta. Right? Without comparison, worse by, I don't know, countless times. If your iman and your heart and your ruh is hacked by shaitan, gaye kaam se. Okay? So when we go on saying that keep your iman strong, stay away from bad mazhabs, our Budurgandin have been saying this forever. Okay, Gawth Pak said the same thing. Those in their zamana, they after always warned us about the bad mazhabs, the deviants. Every zamana they come, Allah said, every zamana they come with a new name, with a new style. But their operating method is the same. The operating method is the same. And their maqsad is the same. They just change the gab, they change the name. We should not get fooled by that day. We should keep ourselves strong. If you keep yourself nisbat to the awliya, then you'll be protected from this. So again, every night I'm reminding myself and I'm reminding you, I'm reminding our children, that it only takes, in inverted commas, a friendship with a bad mazhab. It only takes, in inverted commas, friendship or companionship to get in. And once the foot is in the door, it's a big problem. So may Allah Ta'ala protect us, and may Allah Almighty through the sadaqah of Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam keep our iman mahfuz, and by the izn of Allah and His beloved Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, may Gawth Pak protect our hearts. We give our hearts to Gawth Pak. May He protect our hearts to the sadaqah of our Mashayikh Ikram, because we have given it in the court of our Murshid Al-Azam. And inshallah Al-Azim, they will give it in the court of Sarkar Gawth Pak for the protection. And if you do this, you will find that when sometime you feel that I can't handle this thing anymore, or something, even in normal issues of life, suddenly a mother will come which will be shocked about. You will say, how did this happen? It's not you. Don't think now you became somebody. No, it's not you. It's the karam of those whose hand is on your back. It's their pushpanahi that helps you. So Allah keep us in this, and Allah bless us with firmness in deen. Let us live with Iman, and when the time comes, let us die with Iman. Those amongst us that are going through any difficulties, through the karam of Gawth Pak, may Allah remove the difficulties. May Allah give us all barakat in our rizq. May Allah remove all our hardships and our calamities. And those who are ill, Allah grant them shifa. Those who have passed away from Ahl Sunnah, Allah exalt them in Jannat al-Na'im. Those that are going into parishani, Allah remove their parishani. May Allah protect the Sunni Muslims of Palestine and the Sunni Muslims throughout the world that are going through difficulty. And may Allah destroy the enemies of Islam, whoever and wherever they may be. Wa ma alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.